setting the show in 1920s China, having it have this big epic scope, and also going to all these different locations. I mean, China during this time period, there's so many interesting landscapes, and just the scope of it, I think, would have been very difficult to do in live action. And frankly, nobody asked us if we wanted to do it live action. So.
Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai premieres on Max on May 23rd. I know this has been a long process for you guys to develop. So how excited are you to have this series finally released?
So excited. Yeah. I mean, our incredible cast and crew and writers have been working on this show for so long, and it's really amazing to, see it come to life, and it's really going to be out there. And we really hope that it appeals to fans of the original series of movies, and brings in new fans as well.
This is a question for both of you. Fans of the movies will be anxious to see the series, since it is a prequel. So what can fans expect from the show?
Hopefully the same level of scares and comedy blended together that they would get from the original films, especially the first film, which really, I think, captures all the things that people, when they say about how much they love Amblin movies from the 80s, I think that the original Gremlins is peak version of it, where it is like the scares are genuinely scary, the laughs are genuinely funny, there's still heartfelt moments, and there's also just a sense of wonder of like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. That was what we kept striving for our series. So we want just, old fans and people who are seeing their first Amblin production of any type here with our show just get that same sense of wonderment and fun, and a few nightmares. We want to pass on some childhood trauma too.
Z, I want to ask you this. You're the showrunner and executive producer of the series. What made you want to be a part of this project?
First off, the opportunity to work on anything in the Gremlins universe was something I was really excited about. But beyond that, setting it in 1920s China, we were able to weave in a lot of the Chinese mythology, spirits, and creatures and monsters that I grew up being scared of when I was a kid. And it was just really exciting to be able to weave all that through the series, because Mogwai obviously have rules. They're funny and they're weird and they're scary. And that's kind of what a lot of Chinese creatures and monsters are like. Mm-hmm. And, I'm hoping that for American audiences who maybe this is their first exposure to this mythology, that, it's another really cool backdrop for them to be exposed to.
And Brendan, I want to ask you this. You're also an executive producer on this series. Obviously, this show is a prequel to the Gremlins films and it's animated. Other than those things, how does Gremlins, Secret of Mogwai stand out from the movies that came out in the 80s and the 90s?
I mean, I think they're complementary. One of the things I like about the two films is that the second film isn't a rehash of the first film. It's not just kind of like, oh, here's another, Kingston Falls gets it again. They are their own standalone thing. I think we're our own standalone thing as well. Like, you can just enjoy it as, the first film is this scary suburban adventure. The second one is this kind of wacky, crazy comedy in New York City. And we are this sprawling, epic kind of journey through 1920s China, all connected by my favorite little like trickster creatures you could have. So I think we have our own lane while kind of being a big part of the heritage of Gremlins.
The series looks great. I've got a chance to watch the first 5 episodes.
Oh, cool.
But of course. But were there any thoughts at all of it making a live action series, or was it strictly animated all the way?
It was always a conversation about an animated series. I think that setting the show in 1920s China, having it have this big epic scope, and also going to all these different locations. I mean, China during this time period, there's so many interesting landscapes, and just the scope of it, I think, would have been very difficult to do in live action. And frankly, nobody asked us if we wanted to do it live action. So.
I think it also spared us the problems that we heard about from Joe Dante of puppets breaking down. Like, he was laying out just how hard it was just to show Gizmo walking, which, again, that kind of thing would get very, very exhausting in a TV series. So animation, the possibilities weren't limitless, but were much greater.
And speaking of Gizmo, with the series being taking place in the 1920s, this is a younger version of Gizmo than what we've seen in the movie. So do you think there's a difference between the Gizmo in the series and the Gizmo in the movies?
I think so. Yeah, I'll jump in if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think, without getting into too much of the spoilers of the full backstory we have across season 1 on Gizmo, but I think this is a Gizmo who's newer to the human world. I think he's a little more cautious. He still has an incredibly good heart. I think that's something that is just inherent in Gizmo. But he's a little more cautious and nervous about humans and being around them. I think the one that you see in the movies, he's had his time with Mr. Wing. I think he's a bit more exposed to our world.
Absolutely. And, in the series, it talks about, the rules of taking care of a Mogwai. For you two, if you had the opportunity, could you take care of a Mogwai as long as you follow the rules?
I know for a fact that my family, while I love them all dearly, and I might include myself in this, we spill way too much water to ever let a Mogwai in this house. We would doom Burbank in minutes.
I am wildly irresponsible.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But last question for me before I let you guys go. This show, Gremlins, Sequels of the Mogwai, has been renewed for a second season. That was announced back in 2021. Were you surprised to find out that the show got renewed for season 2 while developing the first season?
I think it was rare. We really appreciated the vote of confidence. We weren't as surprised because we definitely pitched it a lot of times before we got a season 2 renewal. But we're really excited about it because season 2 is, close to the finish line. And, we love season 1. We love where season 2 goes. And we have a lot of stories to tell with these characters and all the adventures that they go through before we meet them in the Gremlins movies. So we're hoping for more seasons.
Of course. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Z, Brendan, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Continued success to both of you.